And we're continuing to work on this 2003 Toyota 4Runner. Got the 4.7 liter. We're just doing a little bit of idle tune up on it here. We're going to check this mass airflow sensor right here and make sure it's clean. So we've got the key off. I'm going to push in on the connector, lock tab, and try to do it one-handed. Can't do it. And we got it released. We got two Phillips head screws. This is not rocket science. Most of you guys can figure this out yourself. You don't need me, but the DIY guy, he might need a little bit of help and a little bit of reassurance. We're just going to lay them screws right there. I'm sure these screws are the same length, that is. But you never know, somebody might have had it apart before and put a lag bolt in one side. So we'll pull this up out of there carefully and get it here in the light where we can see it. Yeah, over here in the light, good. I don't know if you can see, but that wire right there, just inside of that little hole there, where you can see my thumb back inside there. There you go. There's two of them, one here and one there. They've got a dust film on them. They're kind of brown, so we're going to spray on there and clean them out. Going to use the CRC brake clean in the green can. Again, they're not a sponsor, but I'd be glad to take their check along with Pepsi Cola. You know, they're not a sponsor. They ought to be. Nothing I drink of it. Now I've got them sprayed off. There's two up inside there. One, you kind of stick your straw down there in that larger rectangle. I don't know, maybe you can see it down inside there, but don't touch and scrub and brush on those wires. You don't want to break them, because this sensor is kind of expensive. I don't know how much this one is, but I know some of them are up around $200-300, or at least they were. But you can see there the second wire down in there in the bottom, and that one right there makes three. And what happens is the computer sends voltage to them, and they get hot. They heat up, and then there's a sense wire, and it goes to the computer and lets it know what the I don't know if it reads volt drop or resist. I don't really know for sure, but anyway, one reading is for hot and the other reading is for cool, and the way a computer determines how cool that is or how hot it is as to how much airflow is going across it. So if those are coated with dirt, which it doesn't have to be, you know, clods of dirt, it's just a crusty film that builds up on there, it insulates it and it doesn't heat or cool properly, and so the computer doesn't know how much air is coming across there. And if you have a leak in one of your hoses, let's say one of those hoses are leaking, or one of these has got a crack in it, or a split, or mouse chewed on it, one of the other vacuum lines has got a hole in it, or somebody at one of the quick lube places has taken this off and put it back on and folded the hose over, and it's sucking air around it, or the clamps aren't secure, the computer doesn't know how much air. It's not being metered through the mass airflow, and it doesn't control the fuel trim properly. So you're going to have a performance issue. And also you need to check and make sure that O-ring on there is in place and it's not damaged. You can spit on it or whatever and just wet it, and make sure that when you put it back in there kind of square, give it a little twist, let it seat in there properly, put your screws back in. You don't have to cram them way down tight, and then make sure you plug this back in and do all that before you turn the key on. That way you don't get a code. And we're going to call this video done. That's pretty easy. Thank you for watching, guys. Share, like, and subscribe. Comment if you will.